someone could loan me a pen for the sign-in sheet, that would be
I'll
great.
put one up there.
Oh, you did? Thank you.
He's a school
I
teacher.
brought
so it's always
everything except an extra pen. Apologies.
Your paparazzi in the middle of your council. Yeah. Loudly. Nobody wants to even talk.
We all stand for the pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Darlene, yes.
Keith Payne, present.
Jason Aaron, present. Kurt Vaughn, present.
Gail Redden present.
Jack Allen, present. Nelson.
Kristen Potter present.
And
Don, did you say you were recording as well?
that's fine. July 5th.
I don't think he said he was present.
I can see him. Okay, July 5th minutes. Everyone should have a copy. You wish them to be read? Or you all peruse them at your leisure? Everyone's had a copy of them, council. Are there any questions about the minutes, errors or omissions?
Yes, I have an error. Under the list of attendees, my name is not spelled correctly.
You already, okay, we'll bring that to the attention of the
I
secretary.
apologize for my consistent misspelling of your name. I will endeavor to do a better job.
It is just a mouthful to say Crichton. It doesn't flow.
I make a motion to accept the July 5th meeting. By changing Christian's name.
I'd like to have also added, that Charlie Ivory said that Debbie was keeping two books, one for herself and one for the treasury report, and the two books didn't jive.
You better run that motion too, so that's what you're changing.
Motion on the table.
Yeah, there is a motion on the floor. You have a second?
I second that motion.
You're not gonna ask for corrections and additions, then, or
She did,
I did ask for errors or omissions.
I just did one.
but Jack and her.
We have to go by the motion that's on the floor, so we can deny the motion and then start over.
You can make a motion to amend that,
Right,
including anything else.
right.
Right, we'll do it all at once if you want to make changes.
We already have a motion on the floor, I seconded it.
And there's a
We need
second.
Make a
to-
motion to amend that motion. You can change the date, if you want to, we'll see that second.
All right, we do this motion, we have a motion on the floor, you have to vote on that, and then you can make a motion to amend
No.
the
You
minutes.
can make a motion now to amend it, and if it's seconded and passed, then Jack's motion gets amended.
Right, after it's passed.
We don't vote on the motion first, if he votes on that, maybe he won't.
Suppose I don't like the amendment.
Then you can vote no.
Do we not have to vote on a motion that's already put on the floor? Yes, we do.
Normally, that's the case.
That is the case. That is
Somebody
the
can
case.
make a motion to amend the motion, instead of having multiple motions. Otherwise, why are you gonna get voted down, and then you just do it with your own money?
No, we are.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to amend the Act Elton's motion.
You have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. I'd like to have included in the July minutes that Charlie Ivory said that Debbie was keeping 2 books, one for herself and one for the treasury report.
What page you on, Darrell?
What page am I on? I'm just,
No, what
adding
page?
this to the minutes.
Yes, but what page in the minutes are you citing? That's what he's asking.
I'm not,
So then what are we correcting?
where the, Charlie Ivory said that Debbie was keeping 2 sets of books.
You second my motion?
I did second your motion. I absolutely did.
On the floor. So I'll he amended after a second.
Because usually that's the way you do it, but no, we can change what Mr. Boucher says usually.
Okay, moving right along. All right, we have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. All
Okay.
those in favor, then you can amend your,
Vote on this.
just vote on this, then you can make another motion. It was already seconded. It's on the floor.
So the motion is to approve the
Approve the
minutes.
minutes as read.
Why don't you let the president run the meeting, thank you.
As read.
With the correction of my name, Liz Jackson.
Right, with the correction of Kristen's name. All those in favor?
No.
Keith Payne, no.
Gail Red, yes?
Yes, yes.
Kristen Potter, yes.
Donald James Jr., no.
Okay, now, your motion to amend these minutes, what page are you on where you're citing where that's in the minutes?
I think what they're asking is where would you like it inserted into the minutes?
You need to know the page.
Well, we'd like to know what he's changing to, like,
He's not changing.
He's adding.
or adding, like, yeah, where it's adding to.
It can go any place in the minutes. It's immaterial, so it's included.
Well, it'd be nice to know what we're,
Where in the
Raising it
minutes
up.
is it in the minutes that he said that? That's what I'm asking you, what page are you
I
reciting
think
from?
he's saying that
So he
it's
wants.
not in the minutes.
Right, it's not in the minutes.
That's why I
but-
have to have it included in the minutes. If it was
So-
in the minutes, I would be asking to have it put into the
But
minutes.
where
It
during the
can go,
meeting?
it can go any place.
No, it has to go where it happened in the meeting, so where in the meeting did that know that we need to add it? It's not just thrown anywhere.
Top of page 6.
6.
Somewhere in that paragraph, maybe.
The secretary makes a statement about the federal ARP money and potential concerning the use of funds and the fact that there was no documentation, public discussion, part of the difficulty. It appears that there may be, have been 2 sets of books, and that's not what was stated. What was stated at the meeting was that the Department of Treasury is looking into where the CARES Act money received in 2021 went. The deposit was put into her private books, but not in borough books. Debbie was keeping 2 books, one for herself and one for the Treasury report. 2 books do not jive. This is a problem with the audit. President Reagan asked Charlie Ivory, do you have both books? Answer, yes. I'd like that added to the minutes, please.
Sure.
All that in type, all right.
Can you submit that to me so that I can make sure, because I only got about half of that typed in.
Right. And then you can put it in to, as amended. in the-
Or, you know what, don't tear it, I'll just take a photo of it and I'll have it. Yep, and all that way I can have exactly the right
Motion was
thing.
made by Darrell and seconded by Keith
Yes.
to insert that the aforementioned statement into the minutes on page 6 where the secretary stated.
Need a motion to accept the minutes with that, or just insert that?
And is your motion that the minutes are then accepted with that inserted?
I just made that.
It's a simple question,
Okay, I'll
yes.
make a motion that the minutes will be accepted with those additions.
Okay, that amendment there on page 6, under where the secretary said, then was seconded by Keith. Keith, you second with
Yes,
the
ma'am.
motion? All those in favor, Pat? The motion, you say yes or no?
Accept the minutes with Darrell's addition.
With the additions? Yes.
Kristen Potter, yes.
Jack, no?
Gail Redden, no.
Yes.
Keith Payne, yes.
Darrell Haynes, yes.
The motion has been passed, and the minutes are now, will be signed and with borough seal. The treasurer's report. Everyone has a copy of the treasurer's report.
All right, everybody can see it, right? Are there any questions about how I put this together?
You did a good job.
I just want to verify that the amount from the fire tax that had been put in the general fund was all transferred over to the fire fund.
Yeah, so you'll see on the second page that there was a
It was with your
4,000.
agenda that he dropped off. It was with your agenda that he dropped off.
There may be an
If
extra
someone
copy.
could share an extra copy with the budget, the treasurer's report.
Yeah, I think there's another one.
There's a problem.
Thank you.
Are there any
Sorry.
errors or omissions, any questions about the treasurer's report as?
So anyway, you will see under general fund debits for July bills, fire fund tax of $4,327.72. And then if you go to the last page and you look at deposits, there's a transfer from general fund on 7/8/22, so July 8th, which is 2 days after the meeting, of $4,327.72. And that then leads to a total of $4,420.37 within the fire fund as of the 28th of this month. There may be a typo on the copies I gave you, but I corrected it before I put it up here. But I have the 8/28 instead of 7/28, so apologies again.
Okay.
Ray, do we know on the Penelec bill that was for streetlights?
I do not know. I had screenshots of the Wayne County bank account that Charlie had provided me to put this together, and it didn't break it out. It just had Penelec for whatever amount that was.
I have a question about the Penelec bill prior to this. Because a couple months, and a lot of it was because we were back on some of the months, and it was catch-up Charlie was doing. And we had a couple of Penelec bills, and one of them was for like 175, and then another one was, I don't know, 60, whatever. My question is this just streetlights, or has someone called in and put the Baptist church on Penelec?
No, the Baptist church was never put on that.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Are there any other questions about the treasurer's report? Could we entertain a motion to accept the treasurer's report as given?
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as given.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Darrell Haynes, yes.
Keith Payne, yes.
Kirk Grumman, yes.
Gail Redden, yes.
Jack, yes.
Kristen, yes.
Darrell Haynes, Jr., yes.
bills to be paid. With each bill that's submitted, we'll have a discussion about each bill and vote on individually.
So, unfortunately, Charlie provided me with a couple additional bills, which I'll go over after these. It's not a lot, as you can see. So, we have a bill from UJ Fisher for $720. We have a bill from Donald G. Kopowitz, $3372.25. DGK Insurance, we have a bill that totals $390.75. There were 4 independent payments. These are the third of our 4 installment payments: general liability, business auto, workers' comp, fire, and building protection, or contents. And then finally, there's a bill from NEIC for $55.25. This month's total outlay would be $45.38.25. Additionally, we have a Penelec bill of $87.66. I have a breakdown of what the payment should be for Donald Pollard as of August 1st, 2022. This is in reference to the payment amount that was authorized last month of $560.47 is what I have here. I kind of remember $556, but my memory may not be perfect. He has already been paid $259 and we still owe him $301.39. That's not reflected in either of these totals, but it was voted on and authorized. If anybody's curious, J-Bill, Powitz, insurance, and here is NEIC. And so this is electrical permit retainer, Chris Anderson, at 790 Fairmont Road. Volume discount, permit number, again, it says balance due of $55.25. So it looks like we pay that, but I don't know, I don't have a check or anything from him, from Charlie, of what the customer paid to NEIC. And that is all the bills that I have for the month of July.
Any discussions about any of the bills?
Yeah, is there, I'd like a legal answer, is there any reason why the Cartwoods bill continues to be on the bill list once it's voted down?
No, it was voted down. Numbers.
I think he's billing it, so every
Because it needs to be
legitimate bill is sent in.
It was voted against.
Well, let's put it this way. Remember the Lavery Law bill that you guys kept voting down for about a year and a half, and it was on the bill list every month? So I guess it would be the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just like if we didn't pay, if we voted against paying the electric bill and they sent us a bill the next month to pay it again, and we voted not to do it, they would keep sending it.
Right, they still send it.
And they're all here if you guys want to review them.
The NECI, do you have any idea what that was actually for on anybody's building? Thank you, sir.
I kind of wish myself in here. Do something different than that. It's not like a whole thing.
It was for electrical panel on Charles, or Chris Anderson.
the tax stuff.
Right here. That was June. And one was, this is one June, and this should be 500 minus the 2.
I don't understand this tax withholding. Federal with tax withholding is about 27% from my husband. Most of the time he gets no federal tax withheld because it's such a small amount.
Right, that's going to have to be corrected. Because it is incorrect, that's going to have to be put on hold until it can be corrected. It's already been approved, but it's incorrect. It has to be Medicare and Social
Social Security and Medicare all needs to be taken out of the proper amount, which you can Google at irs.gov, and it'll tell you what amount needs to be taken out and what amount is taken out from the employer and what is done by the employee. And all that nice things, and the W-4 was given to Charlie, because he insisted that he had to fill out another one.
But the question is, it's supposed to be $531, the 200, that was the June payment for tax.
That was a different month.
A different month, so it's 531.81 minus Social Security and Medicare. That was voted on in July. The June one was for the taxes he collected prior to, which he was already paid. So that needs to be corrected.
Okay, so,
You're
July,
free to call Donald, he gave me the exact numbers of what he sent in. I do not have the information on the tax collector, but I do know that we have, over multiple years, played this game where for whatever reason, we don't have meetings or we don't vote on it, that we take months and months to pay the tax collector. He has to be paid.
How about if we do this, we pay the bills with the correction of the tax collector bill?
To pay him was already voted on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was
That's
last
it's
month.
just not the right amount.
It's just
So-
not the right amount.
So it was
So,
already voted
Right.
on, but I believe that was in the, I
Right.
believe that was in the vote to make sure.
it was,
correct.
it's
So
right
you
in
have
the minutes.
nothing to vote on for that.
It's right in the minutes. Right here, without withholding, total, it has to pay the tax collector. It was already voted on, so that's a moot point. We have the other bills, to be paid.
I'll make a motion to pay Bouvier Fisher's bill.
To pay what?
Bouvier Fisher's bill.
Do we have a itemized statement of this?
Yeah, it's right here.
And we also need to pay the insurance and the ACI, even if you don't pay,
Well,
but you have to pay
let's
it.
do one motion at a time. Darrell has a motion, makes a motion to pay BJ Fisher.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Kirk seconded. Pat, how do you vote? To pay Mr. Bouger's bill, to pay one bill at a time. Mr. Bouger, see on the board up there?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I was looking at it, hold on. Okay. Gail Webb, yes?
Capone, yes.
Keith Payne, yes.
Earl Haynes, yes.
Jack, no.
I'll make a motion to pay DK Insurance's bill.
Do you have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Earl Haynes, yes.
Keith Payne, yes.
Excuse me, I'll call on you for the vote. Thank you. Kirk?
Yes. Capone, yes.
Gail Webb, yes?
Jack, yes.
Kristen, yes.
Earl Haynes Jr., yes.
That was unanimous, yes, correct?
Correct.
Right,
He seconded, correct?
right.
Okay.
That's for the insurance.
I'll make a motion to pay NEIC's bill.
Have a second?
I'll second it. Jack seconded it.
All those in favor? Ted? This is for the insurance, NEIC. The bottom one,
No, it's for the, yes.
we already did PG. Right,
Yeah, is it anything?
NEIC.
He said.
It's for
DK
Insurance,
right?
No, it's NEIC, the 6525.
Oh, okay. Bill, yes.
Kristen, yes.
Jack, yes.
Gail, yes?
Kirk, yes.
Keith, yes.
Darrell, yes.
I'll make a motion that we pay the Starrucca Borough.
I'll second that. All those in favor? Pat? The second one,
Say the
Don
lawyer.
Karlovic. The second one.
The second one? No.
Kristen Todd?
Yes.
Jack, yes.
Gail, yes.
Kurt, no.
Keith Payne, no.
Darrell, no.
Motion is defeated. You have a couple of other bills?
Yeah, there's a Cadillac First Energy bill of $93.49, no, $87.66.
We entertain a motion to pay Penway.
I'll make a motion to pay Penway $87.66.
I'll second it.
Rick seconded, Pat?
Yes.
Kristen?
Yes.
Jack abstains.
Gail, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. Keith?
Yes.
Darrell, yes.
And the last bill you have?
One question, who seconded that? I didn't get it.
Kurt, I believe.
Kurt.
I second it.
Thank you, Kurt. Nope, that's all of them, I apologize.
Okay.
Unless you guys have something.
No, that's, no one else has any bills to be paid to. Okay. Correspondence. First, I would like to read this letter. Starrucca Borough Council, dear President Redmond, Mayor Heeman, and board members, I regret to inform you that I'm resigning effectively this evening as Secretary Treasurer, Rates to No Officer for Starrucca Borough. As you know, being disabled, I agreed to fill this appointment temporarily. Unfortunately, the responsibilities and dedicated labor demanded of these positions have begun too much of a strain on my health. I hope the limited time I was part of Starrucca Borough administration has brought forth some positive results for the borough. While serving, I've enjoyed meeting many people who reside in Starrucca who I've not interacted with since moving to this community. All borough property records, passwords to portals have been turned over to Mr. Raymond Woods, Assistant Secretary. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to assist the borough. Sincerely, Charles A. Irace. And Charlie had some very serious surgery, and his recovery time was a lot more than he had anticipated. I would like at this time to make a motion that we appoint and hire Mr. Raymond Woods as Secretary Treasurer for the borough.
You have to accept that resignation.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. Can we have a motion to accept Charlie's item?
Actually, he's an employee.
Oh, that's right.
It doesn't have to be accepted.
That's
by the
right.
council.
You're right. So I have made a motion to hire Raymond Woods as our Secretary Treasurer and Rights to Know Officer at the same rate that paying Charlie, which he should have been paid because he's been doing the work. He should have been paid for last month and this month. Anyway, could I have a second?
What's your thought on it, right?
Does he want the job?
Yes, he wants the job.
No, I don't actually want the job.
You
I
don't?
don't think any of the conditions that I resigned under have been met.
You won't take the job?
No, I agreed to be Assistant Secretary to help the borough out through a tough patch and be available as a pinch hitter. But the issues that I have with the compromised nature of the borough have not changed.
I can respect your thoughts and opinions, so are you're resigning then, or you're going to stay?
No, I'm not resigning as Assistant Secretary. I thought I was doing it for one meeting. That's not what we all agreed on, and we needed it. So I will continue to fill in and be a pinch hitter, but I suggest that the council finds a assistant or a secretary treasurer and rights to know officer.
Now, will you do the treasurer business until we find someone who will do all three?
you know, I'm actually pretty hesitant to do that. You know, when I was secretary treasurer and rights to know officer, the council was unable to get me signing authority. We jumped through multiple hoops for multiple months.
Yes,
The file records that were transferred were in complete disarray.
absolutely.
And so taking on the financial responsibility for the borough is not something that I'm comfortable with the way that the borough had been run.
Okay. Which means then we will not be able to pay bills or anything until we find someone that's willing to take this job, and which is going to be very difficult considering the condition that we were handed.
So
January.
potentially you could ask Charles Aritsy to pay this month's bills, since he still has signing authority, make a
Right.
motion to do that. I mean, that's been done before in the borough.
Right.
I don't know how legit that is,
Well,
but
because,
I'm not the council, so I can't make that.
Could we get a legal opinion on that, Ron?
Yeah, you can do that.
right.
Probably a good suggestion, because it gets the bills paid.
Ron, what's your opinion on Charlie's resignation? Should that be voted on or not? What would be
I
your
think it
opinion?
should be voted on, because he was appointed. I think a letter of thanks and gratitude ought to send to Charlie.
That goes without saying.
For his work that he did, and wish him well. I think we all wish Charlie well.
I make the motion to accept Charlie's resignation and send him a thank you letter.
Except his resignation is what date?
Right, you want to see if you can at least
That
pay bills,
is, it's
et cetera?
dated August 1st, 2022, which is today.
No, why don't you, do we want him to possibly pay bills this month until a permanent secretary is found? So making that motion,
Might make sense.
Right, this month.
if you accept it, then you won't have any more authority whatsoever, is
I
that
think I
correct?
rescind my motion then.
Well,
I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. as
I was
a
thinking you accept it, because what happened previously is the resignation was accepted, and then a new motion was passed that the person would continue to pay bills.
I'm not sure he should be assigned or anything. Why don't you just accept it, give him a week to sign the checks? Make it, we accept it as of August 8th or something, and just ask him to pay the bills.
And pay the bills that we have, okay.
Well, I already rescinded my motion, so.
Because the bank should be notified correctly.
Yeah, the bank will have to be notified.
Oh, absolutely. Like you guys do.
Yeah, and we're still waiting for a bill from July to be paid, and that needs to be paid by somebody.
Okay, I make a motion, we accept Charlie Iris's resignation as of August 10th, giving him the opportunity to pay the bills that we have already approved at this meeting. And then we'll have to go forward trying to find someone that's going to step in this morass. The bills that we voted on have to be paid, Penelec has to be paid, the tax collector has to be paid.
You know, that was July's bill. So I don't understand. The gentleman submitted a letter saying a date he wanted to resign. You can't make a motion to say, oh, no, you can't resign that date, you have to resign this
No,
date.
just so he can pay the, he can write the check.
But you have to ask him, you can't just assume that, you can't say, no, I'm not gonna accept your resignation, you can't force him to continue to work.
That's right. Yeah.
You just make it effective as of December 8th.
You can't do that without his permission.
Yes, you can.
I could walk out of my job and my boss can't say, well, no, you have to work 10 more days.
Nobody says you have to work 10 days. You didn't want to sign the check, you didn't sign the
Well,
check.
he did, Ron, he does, I regret to inform you that I'm resigning effectively this evening.
We don't have the right to change his effective date.
You can accept it as of whatever date you want. You can do whatever you want.
Well, okay.
You want to accept it for tonight? Fine. You want to accept it as of August 10th? Accept it as August 10th.
Just because council makes a motion.
Right, doesn't mean he has to do it, so.
Right,
Right.
it's up to him. If he chooses not to,
So
he
just
doesn't
all he
have
has
to sign
to
the
do
check.
is, because he's the signator at the bank.
I'll second Gail's motion.
All those in favor, and I will call Charlie personally. Darrell?
Darrell Haynes, yes.
Keith Payne, yes.
Park Run, yes.
Gail, yes.
Jack, yes.
Kristen, no.
Pat?
Yes. Now,
I'll
worst case scenario,
personally call Charlie.
worst case scenario, if he refuses to sign your checks, the motion stands, we just have to find somebody else to.
Right, we have to do that anyway.
Yes,
So-
right.
But Charlie's very amenable. Charlie's a very amenable type of person and very honorable, and I'm sure that he will be willing. I will speak to him after the meeting.
I hope so, because right now you're looking at some issues for wage theft again.
All right, we have, okay, we have some other, okay, this was August 1st, 2022, Jack Mountain, 6 Mountain Drive, Starrucca Borough Council. This letter is to inform council I'm resigning from the road committee that I was appointed to by President Gail Redmond. The three road committee appointees were Keith Payne, Jack Mountain, and Dave Soden. The Borough Road Committee appointed by council presidents being undermined by Darrell Haynes, Donald Haynes, Kirk Run, and Keith Payne, as they are dealing with road issues on their own, including the 2021-22 redevelopment grants for Kellogg, Bucks, and Penn Hills. I do not wish to have my name associated with a committee I have no input on. Sincerely, Jack Mountain, Councilman. Now, since he's on the road committee and he's resigning and I appoint the committees, it's unfortunate. That's my verbiage on that.
He's not wrong, though.
Unfortunate. No, but it's unfortunate that he's resigning. Entertain a motion to accept Jack's resignation from the committee, from the road committee.
I'll make a motion that we accept Jack's resignation from the road committee.
We have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor, Pat?
He has no clue.
You have to vote.
I know, but I want to know what the motion is.
Jack's resigning. Okay.
Yeah, well, I have a great two questions.
That's enough.
Face.
That's enough.
I don't have to interpret for you.
That's enough.
Don, my resignation on the road
It said
committee.
resignation for the road committee.
Okay.
That, your vote is Jack resigning. Okay. Kristen?
Yes.
You want?
I'll stay.
No. Kurt?
No.
Keith?
Darrell Haynes, yes.
Keith Payne, yes.
Okay. Now, this letter is also from Mr. Downton. This letter is to inform you I am retaining my seat on council but resigning from the position of Vice President, Starrucca Borough Council. My resignation is the result of me not having trust for Ron Bouget as Borough Solicitor and 4 council members from the previous council due to he has represented Councilman Darrell Haynes personally against the borough. It is very apparent through his emails to council he's not representing all of the council. He has accused me of being wrong on facts, only I have documents to back up my statements. He's accused certain council members of helping the plaintiff in the legal action against the borough. He has also notified the borough he will not be handling the purchase of the Baptist church, although Darrell Haynes stated he helped with the agreement for the previous council. His actions as the borough solicitor have raised many questions for me, and I do not feel he's doing right for the borough. Sincerely, Jack Downton, Councilman. We entertain a motion to accept Jack's resignation as vice president. He is staying on the council.
I'll make a motion to accept my resignation. Is that?
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Darrell?
Darrell Haynes, yes.
Keith Payne, no.
Park Run, no.
Gail Redden, no.
Kristen Potter, yes.
Donald Haynes Jr., yes.
Just that.
Let's see. You abstain?
No, I made the motion.
He made the motion.
No,
But
but
he
you
did
can still
not
vote on it.
No, I'm gonna stay.
Yeah.
He's abstaining. So that's about 3-3.
And Kristen, you were no, sorry, I was.
No, I was, yeah.
Kirk was no. And there's 3 no's, 3 yeses. Jason? As mayor, you ready?
No, you can't stay.
Yes.
Okay, we accepted your resignation.
Wow.
Okay, that's all the correspondence I have. How about you, Ray?
Okay, so we have auditor update. We have this letter from Carly Batesel, addressed to Cindy Furman, CC Charlie Aracy, Starrucca Borough Secretary and Treasurer. It's given to me. Dear Director Furman, after many conversations with county and state officials, I am taking the advice of one of the Wayne County officials to resign and run, quote unquote. You do not get paid enough and are not trained to deal with this. I'm sorry, I quoted too early. I hereby resign as 6-year auditor of Starrucca Borough, Wayne County, PA, effective immediately. That was dated July 20, is that 26? Sorry. 26, 2022.
That's an elected position.
So do you accept that or not?
Yes. Make a motion. I make a motion to accept Carly's resignation as auditor.
I'll second that.
Darrell Haynes, yes.
Keith Green, yes.
Clark Brown, yes.
Gail Redden, yes.
Jack, yes?
Kristen, yes.
Alan Haynes Jr., yes.
I'm sorry, I missed 2 seconds.
Christian, did you second?
I did.
Yeah.
All right, now, we can go back to, see, so dear Starrucca Borough Auditors Carly Batesel and Chad Dowden, I'm writing you to answer your requests on your letter received by this office on April 24th, November, December 21 Treasurer's Report, QuickBooks, Starrucca Borough Finance Reports on all borough accounts at December 31st, 2021, Starrucca Borough Minutes for January, March, April, and November 2021, itemized list of bills to pay mentioned in the 2021 retrieved minutes on hand. I have searched through the borough's boxes of records, files that Mr. Woods gave me, and a few electronic files that are stored in the borough's Google account. Unfortunately, I cannot locate the files you were requesting. Your most obedient servant, Charles Aracy. And then on July 20, and so the other letter here is the request. And then there's another letter I don't have on here from July 20, President Redden, good afternoon. On behalf of the borough auditors, we wanted to let you know that we have not yet submitted the audit. Following Mr. Bouget's recommendation at our February meeting to file an extension, we called DCED to inquire about procedures to file for an extension. During this March 2nd, 2022 phone call between Carly Batesel and Jennifer Schmidt from DCED, Mrs. Schmidt reported that there is no way to file for an extension, but there is also no penalty for not filing by April 1st, as long as DCED knew that there were reasons for the delay and we would remain in contact. Chad Dowden and Tom Galliardo were updated later on the evening of March 2nd about the information regarding the audit filing extension. Please recall that numerous regular monthly meetings were canceled between March and June of this year, and that you were updated and advised of this no extension but no penalty process in person on March 21st when you validated and signed the municipal statistics e-filer authorization form for Carly Basil. The auditors have been working on the audit weekly and have been in contact with numerous individuals at the state and county level to provide audit rookies with additional guidance. We continue to work on the audit and stand by our goal of providing a complete and accurate audit of the Borough of Starrucca as soon as possible. Sincerely, Chad Dalton and Carly Basil. All right. This letter, July 7, 2022, this attention Starrucca Borough Council. Enclosed are pictures of the unsafe and deplorable condition of the Starrucca Town Hall, 22 Strax, Chattahee Creek Road. These pictures were taken on May 11, 2022. I request that these pictures be recorded in the minutes of the next council meeting and put on file. If this building should collapse, it could end up in the road or Chattahee Creek and block the bridge, which is immediately downstream, which could cause flooding of homes that are near Chattahee Creek. Thank you, Robert S. Martin, concerned citizen. And that includes the photos in case anybody can see those.
And an update on that, I've contacted a couple contractors, but no one's got back to me either. They say they're real busy at this point, and I think we'll contact, 2 or 3 local contractors to see what it costs to get the building down and removed. That's a major issue. As you can see in front, there are the electric high lines, and the building is cantilevered like 3 feet over the back out in the creek, so it's going to take some delicate removing of the building. Plus, there is a lot of material inside. I don't know if there's any way to save a lot of material.
It's a shame, all those historical records. It's a shame.
Any other council member got anything input on what we do? As mayor, I was after the previous council to do something with it, and you can see where we sit now. I think we really got to get something done with this. I'll contract some more fellows and see if we can get some information back for next meeting.
All right.
This might have been a good place to put some of that COVID money we got.
I honestly cannot read this. It looks like this is a letter explaining the $27.30 that we were paid from State Office of Budget. So, dear, this is a letter from Charlie RAC to Miss Kristen Giratino Jekyll, 15 Public Square Suite 310. And I apologize for murdering the name. Sorry. There being no redaction restrictions communicated to me from President, Vice President of the Starrucca Borough Council concerning your rights to know electronic request of July 27, 2022. I have placed the files that you requested in the enclosed memory stick. Please note, I tried to supply files that I thought are for public access only. 2021 minutes are in this Starrucca file folder. Not all 2022 minutes included have been approved by Starrucca Borough Council. There will be duplicate files, duplicate copies of these files. Thank you. I guess this is a little out of order. We have a letter from
To read this back up for a minute. That was the rights to know to.
that was a response. Sorry, this was just handed to me, so I didn't.
Okay.
That's why they're not in the presentation.
I do understand.
So, and with the secretary resigning. So I do have a letter from Elliot Greenleaf by first-class electronic mail. Dear Sir, Madam, enclosed, please find standard rights to know law request form. Should you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact me. This was from July 27th, 2020 as well. The records requested are 1, meeting minutes for all regular and special council meetings held between January 1, 2021 and present day. 2, treasurer reports accepted at regular and special council meetings held between January 1, 21 and present day. All documentation pertaining to funds received from the American Rescue Plan Act and/or the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds Program, SLRFA, included but not limited to A, Starrucca Borough's applications to receive such funds, B, correspondence with the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development and/or Commonwealth or United States departments regarding such funds, C, resolutions adopted by Starrucca Council authorizing the use of funds, and D, copies of compliance reports submitted to the United States Department of Treasury as required for recipients of such funds, apologies. They request electronic copies preferably. That's there if anybody wants to read that. I have 2 surveys here. I don't know, one from Wayne County Vacation Home Survey and Wayne County Residence Survey of 2022. We open for everybody to review. Sean Logston. Okay, this is a letter from Jack Doughton. Ron, at the July 2022 Starrucca Borough Council meeting, I asked you to respond to me in writing to a January 3rd, 2022 hiring of Sean Logston from Propowich Law for Starrucca Borough. To date, you've not replied to me. How does the amending the January meeting minutes relieve us from the burden of paying Propowich Law Firm for their hired and perform their job as Starrucca Borough solicitor? As per the court order, which stated in January 3rd, 2022 meeting is valid meeting, please give me a legal written opinion. Was Sean Logston the borough solicitor for January 22? Yes or no? And then I have a response letter. Dear Mr. Downton, in response to your email request to me July 30, 2022, I can advise as follows. 1, Judge Meager, and hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly, I don't want to get in trouble, ruled that January 3rd, 2022 meeting was a valid meeting. Judge Meager ruled that the Borough Council, with the addition of Kirk Rowe, could go back and confirm or modify any of the other actions, cannot revisit the Rowe appointment taken at the valid January 3rd, 2022 reorganization meeting. When Borough Council met on February 7th, 2022, they modified a number of actions that took place at the January 3rd, 2022 meeting, including the hiring of Attorney Logston. It is my recollection that the council at the time nullified the hiring of Attorney Logston on a retroactive basis. 5, the essence of this in legal terms is that Logston's was never authorized by the Borough Council to act on their behalf, even though they may have acted in good faith. Even though he may have acted in good faith. Important that. 6, at the July meeting, I was questioned on this and advised Borough Council that they could either pay the Logston bill or not pay the bill. And 7, Borough Council for the July meeting voted not to pay his bill. I am not going to revisit the issue which you and other members consistently bring up, looking for a different answer. Sincerely, Ronald M. Chair.
I've got one question on your letter back, Ron, where you've got here in number 2 there, where you to modify or any other actions, and then in parentheses you got cannot revisit the Rowan appointment. Where did that ever say in the court order that can never be revisited? The Rowan appointment.
One, Kirk Rowe was originally ordered. I have the order, Jack.
Yeah, I've got it right here.
For the 6th time, I'm going to tell you what it is. Kirk Rowe was validly appointed as SBC council member as of December 6, 2020, when the bill vacated seat in Marion, Colorado. Then it goes on to say, the appointment of Basil was void and invalid. SBC council member will be responsible will modify any of the other actions taken at the valid January 3rd, 2022 reorganization meeting. So, Rowan is in, and it's a done deal. Everything else could be modified or reviewed. So, confirmed.
No, my actual question was that no one could ever revisit the Rowan appointment. Anybody else could never take this important question, is that what you're saying?
You could have appealed, somebody could have appealed it.
Well,
that was your option.
No, my question is, no one else could ever take this to court and challenge that Rome did not have this.
I think it's done. Once that Rome got approved by Judge Meir, 30 days went by, no appeal was taken, it's a final order.
But
That's
that
all
you
I'm
just
gonna
think, you don't know for sure that no one could ever challenge that again in court.
In what way?
That he did not have his oath of office.
You guys all had an opportunity to present whatever evidence you wanted to in that hearing, and you presented what you did. Judge Meir heard it all and decided, and it's read from his
Well, he
order.
sort of heard it all.
Okay,
But
that requires
We just
just
let
a
it go.
yes or no.
His order is a final order, is what I'm saying.
Okay, so you're saying it's no positive, okay. His answer is no. Ray, do you have any other correspondence?
Yeah, we've got a good amount. So Wayne County Comprehensive Plan, update surveys, I guess that goes with the other ones. Wayne County Planning, GIS Department, the help of consultants from Shepstone Management and Woodland Designs have launched a comprehensive plan update. So we will need to fill out, where I put them somewhere over here. If you guys want to read that in detail. While you're looking at that, I got another email from Jack Dowden. Dear council members and Solicitor Boucher, this is a reminder to Councilman Darrell Haynes, any other current council members and former council member Mary Ann DeFalco involved in constructing the Carpenter Road to bring any and all documents and deeds pertaining to the Carpenter Road to the August 1, 2022 council meeting as per Darrell Haynes' statement that he had these documents and deeds proving that Carpenter Road has always been a borough road. We need to address this at the August 1st council meeting to clarify any questions on the matter. Thank you for your cooperation in this matter. Jack Dowden. I haven't, and stop me if you don't have comments on anything. I have a,
road number, just get through all the correspondence.
all right.
We have to do correspondence first. That's new business, so it's already on the agenda.
All right, I have an estimate from Bill Picus Excavating for Starrucca Borough, estimated work to repair on Coxton Lake Road. Install 3 15-inch by 40-foot culverts with bedding and head walls, $6,000. Widen road where feasible, $6,500. Delivery spread with dozer and roll, approximately 3,422 tons of 2A modified, $66,729. For a total cost of $79,229.
You said 79,000?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who actually contacted Bill?
It's 6,065 and then 6,729.
I did,
So you contacted him?
yes.
That's now your decision what to do on the road by yourself?
No, I just contacted him, he sent it. Council's got to vote on it. If you need that, if you want to.
Yeah, but who made the decision what work would be done on it? Just you?
You can modify that if you choose to.
Why can't you answer a question? Either you made the decision or you did not.
So how did Bill get the numbers if it was blah, blah, blah?
That was from the previous, grant application, I believe he pulled them from, to apply for CDBG funding.
That's through a grant then.
Correct.
That total funds through a grant.
But you need that to apply for that grant that's due Friday for, approximately through CDBG funding.
Coxton Lake or Jacobs Road?
That's Coxton Lake. Jacob's Ladder will come through dirt and gravel.
That he read was just Coxton Lake Road?
Yeah.
Are you gonna put 3 sluices?
Estimate for repair work on Coxton Lake Road. Sorry. be approximately 18 feet wide, 50 feet long, and 30 feet wide at the state road. 3-inch binder course and 1.5-inch top wearing course. Existing base to be widened, crowned, and shaped as needed. 2A modified to be added as needed. Saw cutting and hot tar seal at the edge of state pavement. Smooth transition at the edge of new pavement to dirt road. $5,000. This is from Benjamin Todd.
So why would you go and get a bill to pave the top of that road, when in the past it's worked fine, like 2 loads of modified, or about $300 a load of modified, and maybe $200 for somebody to spread that off. So all you're doing is getting these bids just so the roads can't get done because you outpriced them. Like to get the top of the top of the Stefano Road, you could have got that done probably somewhere around $700-800 and did a nice job on the top of what we have in the past. Why the pavement?
You're welcome to get a quote and bring it in.
I'm not on the road committee anymore, just because of this BS that you're pulling.
So, just one, I'm trying to, there's 2 pages here. One is for 6,000 and one is for 5,000, and they look the same to me.
The 2 pages for the same road, one's 6 and one's 5.
Yes, Stefano Road, pavement apron in north end of Stefano, where it meets Chattagee, pavement apron in north end. Yeah, I don't know why there's one for 5,000 and one for 6,000.
Take a look again, Greg, because I believe one says for 50 foot in length, the other one is 75.
No, you're absolutely right. It's an extra 25 feet. Yeah, so one is for 50 feet long and one is for 75 feet long.
So, long on the Stefano Road, Keith, you being on the road committee, what have you done on the Stefano Road?
Currently, nothing, to my knowledge, has been done on Stefano Road.
So Preston hasn't come in and did anything?
Not to my knowledge, unless you have other information.
I believe the potholes were filled in.
By who?
Chris Miller.
And this is all legal, isn't it?
He passed.
So where does
the
Chris
last
Miller
one.
get the modified from? Bill Potholes.
I believe he has material at this place.
So who purchased them?
I have to talk to Chris.
This is why nobody wants to be on the road committee, Darrell, you do everything underhanded.
There's nothing underhand, the motion was made to buy it for purchase up to 8 triaxle loads modified.
So did you buy it? Buy any modified? Has you called and ordered any modified from Picus? Yes or no?
I didn't.
Did anybody on behalf of the borough?
I can't answer that, Jack. All I can speak is for myself.
Do you know if anybody called?
I can't answer that, I don't know.
You don't know at all.
No, I don't.
Keith, did you call on behalf of the borough?
No.
Did either one of you, or
A motion was
did
made. I
did
believe
either one of you
that
give
was
Chris
filled in.
Miller, tell Chris Miller to call us before the modified?
Jack, there's no
This is
bill-
borough money being spent.
There's no bill for presented yet. The motion was made to purchase up to 8 triaxle loads of modified. There hasn't been a bill presented yet.
And I know your motion went up to $20 a ton,
Right.
and everybody else around here can buy it for $13 a ton.
Why the price difference?
It was not to exceed $20.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, not to exceed $20.
Right. It didn't say it was being purchased at 20.
Would they let him just purchase or
But
go
even
sold
if
on
we
behalf of
have,
them? How is this working?
exactly, even if a motion is made that we get this stuff, that doesn't mean some private guy can go and say, hey, I want this much stuff and it's for Starrucca Borough. There's no oversight that way. Chris Miller should not be the one phoning anyone to order anything.
And where is the material being delivered to, Borough Road, or as in
The
the past?
modified is supposed to be purchased from Bill Picus, not to exceed $20 a ton.
Correct.
And Chris Miller to fill the potholes with a dump truck.
So how do you fill the potholes with borough material if no one has ordered the borough material?
That is the question on the table.
So Bill Picus, you should have a bill from Bill Picus, if he's going to do this, that for the modified?
The question-
Because that's
the
what, that's what
question
your motion was.
I understand that question, Jack asked me, was did I order it? I didn't.
And did you know anybody else that would?
I don't.
Well, then, if Bill Pickus wasn't notified to purchase the, as
Was
per the
notified by
motion.
someone from the borough, that wasn't me, Chris Miller, that called.
Chris Miller can't call, it has to be someone from the borough.
But that's the way it's worked before.
Now, irregardless, it doesn't work that way now.
It's his material charge.
But no, that's not what the motion was. The motion says the materials to be purchased from Bill Pickus, not to exceed $20 a ton, not purchased from Chris
No,
Miller.
the
from his
borough
stockpile.
still has to be part of that.
Just don't pay the
Right.
bill.
And so it had, someone had to call Bill Pickus, purchase the modified, and then Chris Miller does, according to the motion, does the work. So how did it work out this other way?
I can't answer you. There's no bill. There's no bill for modified.
Well, in other words, I'll just say this, that the Starrucca Road has been worked twice, the Preston come in and did it a few weeks ago, and Chris Miller did it about a week ago.
The contract with Preston is to work Stefano Road. So then why did Chris Miller come back to rework? You voted to have him fill potholes,
Right.
but he found. But the question is, do you have a bill from Chris Miller? Where did the modified come from?
Have you got a bill from Chris Miller yet?
Where did the modified come from that he's going to use?
I don't know, I can't answer, I didn't order it. You can ask the same question 6 times over. I didn't order it.
Who authorized Chris Miller to use his modified that he has in stock? He wouldn't have done it on his own. So when he was contacted about this motion to fill the potholes, someone called him,
I did, I called him.
and then where did you tell him that the modified was coming from?
I didn't tell him, just told him to go ahead and fill the potholes. You know, you guys can make this as difficult as you want.
But you have to go by the motion.
At some point in time, you're gonna have a hard time getting contractors to work for Starrucca Borough.
But you made the motion. Darrell, you made the motion to get the modified from Bill Pickus. So how is that making it hard? You contact Bill, you contact Bill Pickus and for the modified, and then Chris does the work. So that's in your motion. You made the motion. So that's how it should have been done. End of that.
And Darrell, you're exactly right. It's gonna be hard for Starrucca to get contractors, because back in 2015 back, we could get contractors. We put it up to bid, we get a contract, the roads got done. And then when you guys took over in 16, you fudged along, you wanted somebody to do this road, you wanted somebody to do that road.
I want to know.
And all your stuff was underhanded how you did it.
Okay.
We can go back on all the roads, and that will eventually come out.
Now, when Chris
Only
Miller-
Schaefer's not your good friend anymore. Don't shush me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Excuse me. When Chris Miller's bill comes in, it must be itemized as to the price for the modified, and this goes entirely against the motion that was made by you. That has to be, we need to contact Chris Miller. I will call him myself. Because this needs to be rectified. The motion was made by you, it should have been done properly.
I don't know if you still got who authorized the snowplow church.
He never answered that. Okay, Ray?
So, I have a letter from Wayne County Board of Assessment and Revisions of Taxes, the update to the tax values for the 0.3 acres that we still own. The values changed, we're a nonprofit, so there's no tax assessment. It says that Wayne County is nearing completion of the countywide tax reassessment. This process began in 2019 and will be completed by the end of this year. The current reassessment results from the property are, and the market land value changed 96%. It went from 16.3 to 32.1. The improvement asset went from 14.2 to 23.6. Total assessment went from 3,500 to 55,700. County millage went from 5.23 to 3.49 estimated, which is a 33% reduction. County tax, 0.
Doesn't say what the address is for.
No, it just gives a tax map ID. COVID-19 local fiscal recovery program, reallocation of unused funds. Since we used COVID money, DCD has some extra left over for people who didn't, and people who used it get a reallocation of the surplus. It doesn't say how much we get. And I have an update because I just got the invoice for the printer. Total bill was $338.14. So I will update the treasurer's report to reflect that change. Because I had 400 in there, which was the maximum authorized, because I did not have the value from Charlie.
And that would come out of the UCC account.
I believe that's where I took it out, yes. Because I remember you mentioned that. I have a letter of intent. I don't know why I have it, but I am the contact person on it, so great. And then there's just some general stuff you guys can look at. That's what I got for correspondence.
Okay. We'll open it up for public comment. Please orderly raise your hand. Ruth?
I'm concerned that you need to look at the Claxton Lake estimate, Claxton Lake Road. There's very little mileage on Claxton Lake Road. And there's an estimate for $80,000 worth of road work.
Thank you, Ruth. Mr. Williams?
Back in June meeting, I submitted a right to know request for various things that dated from June 2021 to June 2022. I received 3 emails, 2 to Gilred and 1 to Jack Downey. I received a contact list for the months of May and July of 2022, and that is it. Where's the rest of my requests?
That's a good point.
Another thing I'd like to make about the same thing, the email to Jack Downey, your borough lawyer here made a statement in here that is not correct.
And
If you would like, I can't read it, I'll have my glasses, if you want to read what it says.
You give it to me, I'll read it.
Number 1, this is the correspondence with Jack Downey from yesterday.
Okay, this is to Jack. The 4 borough councilmen met with myself and the mayor on March 15th, 2022, since that was the advertised time for a meeting of the borough council. Yourself, President Redden, Christine Potter, that's,
Whatever.
it's not her name, did not attend, nor did the secretary of the borough. Without a secretary, an effort was made by myself to ask members of the public who showed up to attend the meeting if any of them would act as assistant secretary so a meeting could be held. No one agreed to do so. Okay, I see where your point. Therefore, after 4 council members, myself and the mayor held a conference in the back room to see if we could break the impasse with the Black Cemetery secretary for this meeting. No agency business was deliberated during this conference. Holding a conference pursuant to 65 PACSA Section 706B is not a violation of the Sunshine Law. And your point, Mr. Williams?
I'm sorry, it was an oversight on this part, not just an all-out lie, that I didn't volunteer to be the secretary that day.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did, I've seen that.
Yeah, it's on video, I'm sure a lot of people saw that video.
Yes, thank you. Well, the borough secretary is rights to, would you please make
So, as far as the rights to know request goes, I, after the meeting, sent an email to Solicitor Bouget since he had concerns that some of the information requested may be privileged or confidential. I CC'd Charlie. I got an email back promptly from Solicitor Bouget citing an extension to review. And what Charlie told me is that he has not received anything from Solicitor Bouget as far as the communications that were requested in the rights to know. That's all I have.
According to this documentation, under the RTKL, an agency has the burden of proving that it's permitted to, or in some cases required to, hold a record. Merely stating the record does not exist or making other factual assertions isn't enough for an agency to meet its burden of proof. In general, an agency must submit an affidavit sworn to under the penalty of perjury To support its assertion, to assist agencies, the OOR has posted numerous sample affidavits on its website, can be downloaded, modified for agency use. Other useful documents are also available. Any borough minutes, records, those things are public meetings, and those
There are
are available to the public.
very specific guidelines for what is allowed to be kept, you know, away from public eye. And it's on the agency, which would be Starrucca Borough, and our solicitor, to have a sworn affidavit to why.
Not on the solicitor, it's on the right to know law.
Well, the paperwork's coming from you, and you're not
No, it's
explaining.
not coming through me,
It's correspondence with you that he requested.
from you, not from me.
But it's the correspondence that people sent you that you're holding on to.
No,
That you
no,
won't
it's
share.
your records,
No, it's not.
they're your records.
This email was sent from you? This email was sent from you?
Yes.
This,
I think the way that-
the payments are from you?
I think the way that unwound was, Mr. Williams' right to know was read, and then I think you, Ron, said that you gotta be careful because some of the
I
stuff.
get in
should
trouble
be-
for what I asked, is what he said.
Exactly right, that some of it have to be
That-
redacted.
yeah, well,
I got an email from Charlie saying, you know what?
I do have a question for the solicitor. Who's going to get me in trouble? The GRU?
Let him explain himself, please.
Who is it? The Nazis? Who's coming for me? For asking questions, I'm going to go to jail? Is that what
Well,
your
he threatens
personal
people.
copier is for? Keep you from
Okay,
asking
so his
questions?
right to know request
Go ahead.
states
Finish what
all
you're saying.
communication, physical and digital, email, text messages, phone records, fax, written letters between Starrucca Borough Solicitor Bouget and Starrucca Borough Council members.
They're your records.
So your records to borough members.
Fine, then pull them out of your records. The last thing was gonna redact
The
it.
people that send you emails, we don't have them, you have
If
them.
you wanna talk all the time, I will talk, I'll just sit here and listen.
Well, you don't say anything worthwhile anyway.
Okay, moving right along. All right.
I want the rest of
These
my-
are your
my
records from borough people that email you and ask you questions that you constantly get charged for, that you will not share.
Okay, there are.
Because your cronies are going on and you won't tell us what's
Moving
going
right
on.
along. We can, there are other authorities we can go through to make sure
Yes.
we get what we need. What,
You can-
you have a right as a citizen for rights to know.
So
Effie.
is the borough solicitor suggesting that the emails he gets from certain borough council members, he does not have to share with council, even though it has to do with council business? Is that
And the rights to know.
in the rest, is that the gist of it? Like, I'm not doing this.
Is that what you're-
Excuse me, let her address that to Mr. Boucher.
I just did.
I'm saying my records are my records. Your records are your records. The right to know request was directed to your secretary.
Then
I said, let me finish. I said, maybe some of this needs to be redacted. Charlie never got records to me to look at to see what needed to be redacted. I asked him about it. He already released whatever records he had to the person that requested the records. I consider it an end story.
Who makes the decision on redacting something? You work for council, so wouldn't council, if I didn't want
Council
something
agreed
redacted?
to let me look at it to see if it needed to be redacted.
But what I'm saying, if you say it needed to be redacted, and a council member says it doesn't, a council member should have their own opinion on what's redacted and isn't, correct?
It's up to council because of their records.
So are you saying that any emails we send to you regarding borough business are not borough records? They're only your records?
They're my records.
So records about borough business as borough
You
solicitor.
have copies of them, release your records.
We don't have copies of the million emails that the 4 people sent to you in the phone call, sorry. We don't have that, and that's borough business, and therefore is public record.
I don't know that there's millions of anything.
All right.
There was also
Kathy.
phone records and
So-
faxes.
So you're saying it's not public record. Borough business to you is not public
I'm saying
record.
my records are my records. The request was made to the borough secretary, right to know officer. You release your records. I suggested they needed to look at.
Your name is right in the right to know request. Records between you and the
Okay,
borough.
Kathy.
So then my question would be to the council people, men, women, whoever, that are actually emailing you you and not giving those emails for the borough record, what are the consequences to those people? That means they are conducting business beyond council without the rest of council knowing. So what is your advice on how to handle that? As usual.
Apparently
Questions
none.
to you, Ron?
What's that?
Was that my answer?
Question was to you. So in other words, any correspondence between council and you is open records.
Not for my file,
To you, council
For
people.
what?
not for my file. Your stuff is your stuff, my stuff is my stuff.
If it comes out of council and goes to council, it should be council's file, correct?
Yes.
It's borough records.
No,
Correct, which means falls under the Open Records Act. Thank you.
I wasn't requesting it.
Kathy has something to add.
You just said it's borough records.
no, the question I asked is if certain council members are emailing you about borough business and they are not sending those emails or the rest of the council is not privy to those emails, what are the consequences for those people acting alone as a council member with you while keeping the rest of them in the dark?
As usual.
I'll have to research that.
Okay. Are there any other public comments?
I have a comment as a concerned citizen. I am wondering why 4 council members prior to every meeting meet together before coming over to the meeting. 4 council members constituting a quorum. I don't know why they're meeting together before every meeting before they come over here. And that would be Donald Haynes, Darrell Haynes, Keith Haynes, and Kirk Rowe. Because I find it strange that Kirk and Keith drive from over here to over there to come back here. And we can't use the excuse of, oh, Donald Haynes needs a ride, because Darrell drives down to his house and his brother could gladly bring him over here, I'm sure.
Why don't I go pick him up, that's my business.
Well, if you guys want to stand around talking outside the floor,
Okay.
How you,
we
All right.
have an issue. We have an issue.
Enough. Is there any other public comment? Is there any other public comment? Yes, sir.
What is in the old town hall? You said there's like stuff in there, is there actual like documents?
Yes, there is.
They're old things that
What's
should have.
the, you couldn't just go in there and move?
Well, you see the roof collapsed in, so now,
Like, you're not allowed with any, like.
no, I mean, you could, and it's,
But, yeah, and we don't know with the weather situation how damaged they are, but it would be nice if we could salvage something.
And theoretically, anyone can go in there because the door's been open for years. So when someone goes in there and gets hurt, it's going to be on the borough.
Is there any other public comment? Okay, old business. The January 3rd modified and amended meeting minutes approved.
So just a point of clarification, I thought it was important to have the original motion and then the modified or amended motion. And so when you read the minutes, the ones that are struck through represent the original, just so that it was clear what was amended and what was modified.
Right.
And those should have been provided to everybody Friday.
Yes, he did, everything was, the original minutes, and these are the ones that have been amended. And he did put the date that they were amended on them. So everyone has it, so it was just those few salient points that they amended.
I'm making this opinion on that because it's my understanding that the action taken was within the February meeting, and that was not to modify the action taken within the January, but it's to be included in the February minutes. The January ones were voted down. What's your legal opinion?
I recall the January minutes were voted.
And
Any corrections or changes were made at the February meeting.
was
So
it-
whatever the February minutes were, they were the minutes that effectively included whatever changes were.
Right, that's what Ray is saying, they include the changes, so this needs to,
But they would be within the
How can
February
they do
minutes.
changes if they don't approve them to begin with?
They would be within the February minutes. You can't go back and amend the original January ones that were voted down.
But how did you go back and amend the January, if January was never valid?
Because the judge said they could.
Well, that's right. So how do you go ahead and do something if you're not willing to vote them in? How is the auditors next year gonna do this without the lack of January minutes? It's gonna be just like this one.
I don't know if you're gonna have any orders, the way this is going, I don't know.
They have to,
Yes, it would be.
Well, maybe, like next year, like, maybe
they,
I won't, before I won't be on council, you won't be solicitor.
You're right.
Come on.
You know,
They-
I don't know.
But the action was taken is within the February minutes.
but it was the January 3rd minutes that are, and that's what's being put in here, where it was modified. Your modifications have to be put in because you were modifying
Right,
the
but they're
January
put, they're
3rd
they're
minutes.
put within the February minutes, though.
But they had
But
to
it
be,
still has to be voted on in January minutes.
right, and so that it can be signed and sealed.
Ron, legal opinion, they want to amend the January minutes that were voted down.
No,
They don't want to amend it.
no, just vote, your
January 3rd
modifications
minutes.
are inserted.
If the January minutes were voted down, that was my recollection, you can check it. If they're voted down, they're voted down.
All right.
Then how do they amend it if they're voted down?
Moving right
Or
along.
voted down
Okay.
afterwards.
We already have the status of the borough auditors, they have resigned. There's a lot of missing documentation, so this will be going to elsewhere. The Thompson Hose contracts were signed and the secretary has them. The status of the ordinance book, minute bound ledger and 2021 missing minutes, they are still all among the missing.
Well, I would like to bring that up on the minute book. Keith, in the December 29th, 23rd, somewhere in there, it's in the minutes where you stated that the minute book, you have received the minute book and waiting on an invoice. So you did have a minute book. Laura
I
Travis
stated that
did,
there was a minute book, correct.
but Laura Travis,
And that I either turned it over to Laura or the auditors that year.
well, just let me get through what I'm saying.
Well, that's all I have to
So
say about it.
Laura brought back and said there was no minute book that was ever voted on from council to get a minute book in Laura's letter. So let's have that noted, that Laura's letter, she had a false statement in because there was a minute book that Keith had in 2017 that would have been turned over to Laura. Keith, I'm sort of coming to your defense.
Again, it was either turned over to Laura or the auditors.
Well, that's what he's saying.
Well,
Laura
that's
was
what-
the auditor.
Would have been Laura, that's what he's saying.
So your
Not
16 and 17 would have been in the audit book, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Speaking
And as long as we're on
Okay.
the minute books, or with the minutes, Ron, if the minutes are not attested by the secretary, are they a valid minute?
It should be attested and sealed.
They have to be signed and
To
sealed.
be a legal minute, they have to be attested and sealed?
They should be attested and sealed and entered in the minute.
After approval, the
Okay.
secretary signs the
Yeah,
minutes.
but I'd like to-
Pardon? That's what should happen all the minutes.
Okay.
Right.
Could we have that on the record that Mr. Bouger said that they'd have to be attested and sealed to be valid minutes? Then my question back
I
to you
said
would
they should be. I'm not going
Maybe they should.
because my question to you would be, the minutes that you entered into the court case on behalf of Starrucca Borough and against the other 4 council members, they were not tested or had a borough seal on them for the November and the December meeting.
They were good enough for the judge.
Okay.
All right.
One last thing on the meeting books. So I went online to Pennsylvania State Township Association, and they have several different meeting books available. I suggest that we purchase one.
Do you have a price on any of them?
Yeah, so there is a plain Jane leather bound, 160 pages for $55. There is for $65, you can get one that has imprinting on the spine and on the cover, pretty fancy. And then you can also get a 300-page binder with secure pages and locking. That one is $140. I recommendation that the $55 model, buying 2 of those, one to be used for meeting minutes starting in January 2022, or at this point, February, and then one being used to update for ordinances. That's my recommendation to the council.
Now, is that, once you put the minutes in, they're sealed or not?
Yeah, so
removed.
these books are oversized. They're 13 by 11, so that 8.5 by 11 sheet fits in there, and they kind of glue in, or you glue them in, and then you seal and sign over the seal, so that if it's moved from the page, you can tell that it's been
You
modified.
can tell that it's been modified. That's a good thing.
Yeah, because we've had past it, that's happened back in 07 and 08 where.
I would make a motion to purchase 2 of the $55 minute books, one for the minutes, obviously, and the others for the ordinance.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor, Pat?
Yes.
Kristen?
Yes.
Jack, yes?
Gail, yes.
Kirk, yes.
Keith, yes.
Darrell, yes.
Thank you, Ray, that's excellent.
All right, let me go back one. Finish everything else.
June. Release of documents by council members. On June 13th, Mr. Boucher, you sent an email concerning release of documents by council members. And what documents were you referring to?
You have any question on the other one? You sure?
It must not have come from me because I have all your emails here. June 11th.
June 13th, I got one right here, June
Oh, do you?
13th, Gail Redmond, President, Starrucca Borough.
March, May, unless I didn't file it in the right place. Okay.
There it is.
Okay, thank you. Immediate response and undisclosed for the sale of the church property. I initially responded, what went wrong with the record? You and all council members must understand I am the lawyer for Starrucca Borough and the 4 individual defendants in the Batesville lawsuit. The thrust of that lawsuit against the borough and the individuals is action taken at certain meetings involving this church to borough real estate transaction. I cannot allow that in various letters and other documents pertaining to this matter be part of the general records of Starrucca Borough, which would be accessible by third parties and the plaintiffs in the lawsuit.
That's just my.
Oh. Has nothing to do with this transaction unless you and council members are trying to utilize the assets or we have great doubts that all of the members of Starrucca Borough are on board with defending of the Batesville lawsuit. That is my hope, and I hope I'm wrong, that there are council members who are aiding and abetting. I see. Carly Batesville and her legal firm in winning this lawsuit against Starrucca Borough. If this is the case and I find out, there will be serious adverse consequences to anyone on Starrucca Borough Council that participates in the undermining of this lawsuit. Please tell me to whom you are referring.
Anybody that.
To whom are you referring?
Anybody.
And what documentation do you have, what indication do you
I
have
didn't
that
say I
anyone,
had documentation.
that anyone
I said I
was?
have concerns.
And threatened.
Why would you have concerns? And that,
So this is underlined what you got. In such cases, I find out there will be serious consequences. I take that as a threat as a council member, that you're threatening council members that they can't do anything or talk anything.
I believe this
And
is
I am not going to go
I'm not
along,
saying that at all.
I'm not going along with what these clowns did wrong. They did it for months and months and months and years. They just finally got caught at it and somebody took them to court. So if you think there's any documents out there, please share them with me as a council member.
Well, when we get into discovery, we'll take a look.
I believe this is the second time Mr. Boucher has threatened council members if
Yes.
we don't cooperate.
And I take that as a threat toward myself. And then the other thing is you put in here that you found out that Gail was sending emails to the district attorney. What's wrong with her sending an email to the district attorney?
Why is she sending it to the district attorney?
No, I asked you, but wait a minute.
No, I'm
I asked
asking
you,
you.
I'm asking you, what's wrong if she wants to send 10 emails to the district attorney?
Because it leaves a sour implication that she's doing it for the purposes of trying to get somebody prosecuted.
If they did something wrong, shouldn't they be prosecuted?
Not the general correspondence back and forth. She's trying to set somebody
Well,
up.
why would the district attorney go after it? It's just.
okay, you just, I want that recorded, that I'm trying to set it up. And Mr. Boucher, this is the last time that you are going to disparage me. There is nobody here, including these gentlemen, that can say that I've ever done anything to anybody. And I, as a Christian woman, I resent that. I wasn't trying, the district attorney asked about his deputy coming here because, for whatever reason, from various people and said, anything, I have copies of every email I've ever sent to anyone, and you're welcome to peruse them. But do not attempt to disparage my name to anyone in this community, because these people all know me, as does anyone anywhere else. So do not think that I was trying to railroad or put someone under the bus. I came into this council in January. I had no idea any of this other stuff was going on. Bits and pieces I get in bits and pieces, and that's my knowledge of everything.
I believe this is the second time that Attorney Boucher has publicly disparaged you.
It's the fourth time, but that's going to end right now.
It's just Ron Boucher's bully tactics.
Excuse me.
I've seen it in the past.
All right, Laura Travis's letter to the borough as far as status of filings, dated June 18th. We have what little bit that she sent. The secretary still doesn't have all the documentations. Update on the lawsuit, that's from you. We don't know anything about it other than you
You
go.
know about it because I sent you
The ninth.
comments about it.
I'm talking about the dates and everything, the
I gave
9th.
it to you, it's the 9th.
Right, the 9th.
So don't
if
say I
anyone-
don't tell you anything. I do tell you something.
Yes, you do. I'm just saying, we're asking for updates.
The
Anything you
update
can
is, it's going to be argued on the 9th.
do. Okay.
Ron, something I haven't as a council member got was your actual original brief back. I don't know, Gail said she got it, you said you tried to email it to me, but I never got it.
I did.
Could you email me the original brief that you put back to the court?
If council directs me to send things to various council members, I will.
Well, I'm directing you to give me a copy as a council member.
I don't know that you can direct me, Jim, to be perfectly
All right, I asked you first, so that's what I'm asking. I would like to keep up on staff of what's going
I
on.
was giving you the courtesy in the past of sending you copies of correspondence, and she privately grabbed me and said, can you send me things, because I don't get in the loop on everything that goes out
That,
there.
and I'm asking you again,
That's
could you
what she
please
told
send
me.
me that?
So,
So I
And
sent
all.
it.
I have a
So
question.
I'm putting on record, no, just a minute. So I'm putting on record, I'm requesting you to send me all documents that you handle as a council member. I am requesting that.
All right, I'll think about it.
My question is, if the council has to request that you send any documents, let's say, to people other than the president, how come on multiple emails to the president, you CC Keith Payne on them?
Well,
Well, right, does he have to be on that? The council did not approve that these emails also go to Keith Payne.
pretty obvious. Steve Payne is one of the 4 members that you accuse of being in cahoots. So if I send something to him, likely it's going to get to the other 3 people.
Because they're important.
And then if I send it to Gail or Jack, it's likely going to get to the 3 of you. So I'm trying to keep everybody.
I'm sorry,
informed.
I've not been CC'd on any email. The emails I see when they come here to our public meeting.
You can ask your mother.
And you just said that the council has to say that you can send them to whoever you
All right.
want.
He's asking about legal
Okay.
claims, not correspondence.
So in closing, Ron, I had asked you before, you said I had asked you before to send me all documents that you had.
Correspondence.
And I'm asking you again, to send me all documents.
Correspondence.
Did you
And I'm
send,
asking for all documents pertaining to the borough.
did you send the brief to anyone else other than President Redden?
I didn't send her a brief.
All right, now, update of the status of the letter to Priscilla requesting to authorize plowing the Starrucca Baptist Church. We've gotten nothing, the secretary's gotten nothing from him. That was sent by, a couple of months ago. Status of the SLFRF project, that would have been the COVID money. We still don't have any documentation or anything. Ray, do you have anything more than?
Again, I just have what Charlie gave to me, the one email here that there are additional funds going to be made available.
Chris is too.
Okay, Jack just said he has some things.
Okay. So I had you wanted to see Kirk and Darrell and Keith, you wanted to see the application that you filled out. So here's the application that you filled out. Since you didn't know nothing about it, Kirk, how we got the money and where the money went. Because it would really be nice to know where the $8,600 went.
Well, this is my name here because I'm president. That means that's it.
But what does it say in front of that? You
Not
authorized,
official.
the authorized official, okay? So somebody put your name in there and backdoor you, or?
Contact Debbie Travis.
Yeah. So we got Kirk Rowan and Demi Travis on there that should know something about this.
Well, the money didn't come to me, Jack. It came to the secretary, and I don't know where it went, to be honest with you.
So either you authorized it or the secretary illegally did it on her own and put your name on it.
She may have just added the president's name on top, but that's.
It's unlikely, since they know how the money was spent, that they knew nothing about it.
And then going back through the 2021 minutes, the only thing that has anything to do with you guys filling out for that COVID money and getting a vote from council, because there was never a vote from council on this rescue fund or anything. The only thing that's in there is on the October 4th minutes, Professional Service Agency's American Rescue Plan was read. Mr. Haynes made a motion to table, seconded President Rowan, motion carried, all in favor. That's the only thing that was even ever mentioned about getting that COVID money. And Charlie said he had no idea on what he was filling out or where that came from. So supposedly there's another half of $8,600 somewhere that we should be getting. So somebody from council would have to know what the heck's going on. Or next meeting, we should be pulling in Demi here and questioning her. What went on with this COVID money and who got it and where did it go?
I'm not sure, Jack. Can't answer you.
Well, there's two names on it, Ron. The ex-president Rowan and Demi. So I think we should bring Demi in and explain how it was filed for and why she did it, because there was no vote from council to do any of this.
You know, it's like a lot of things here. They should be checked into and investigated and found out, get to the bottom of it. Whether it's 2 sets of books, COVID money, or any of that other stuff, you should do it constructively.
But we can't do it when people won't give us the information, people won't answer questions, or people deny they know anything.
Look, Ron, last meeting I asked if anybody knew about it, they're all dumbfounded. You know what? Everybody gets amnesia when they get caught with their pants down in this borough, it seems like.
There's got to be a way to find the original documentation and not just.
So you're sending a letter asking the auditors why they're not getting the audit done? Well, if we don't know at council meeting what's going on, how is the auditors going to get anything done?
Well, I was concerned about the audit, but I was also concerned about the allegation of the 2 sets of books, which is a very serious allegation. And that should be checked into, and somehow it's got to be resolved.
By who? The district attorney?
Maybe the district attorney.
Oh, look, President Redden can't contact the district attorney. Why is she doing this? She's trying to undermine people.
I
You can't have it both ways.
contacted
It's
the
like a
first.
lot of things. You people take something and you just blow it up out of proportion.
You can't
I
have
never
that.
say-
Okay.
I never say she shouldn't contact the
She
district
should
attorney about
have.
something like this.
The first time any of us heard about that was last
It's
month
not
at
the
the
meeting
meeting.
here.
Right,
That's the
something
first
like
time we
that.
were all dumbfounded, so that will have to be
You
investigated.
can't investigate when the Chavises do not return everything and won't
As
answer
our solicitor,
letters.
who would you suggest we turn to?
I would suggest, first of all, get your facts straight. And if you have your facts straight and you feel reasonably certain that there's something there, go to the district attorney's office. That's what I would suggest.
All right. Now, moving right along, the status of the lawn care for the borough, the private individuals, my son paid so that the ball field would be mowed for my church's event, which came out very well. Thank you, Steve, for paying Tom Swartz for doing all that work, and he did a great job. Now, I don't know, is anyone mowing, or is anyone doing anything for the memorial? Jason, you're probably mowing the memorial. Thank you.
Yes, no, I'm not.
Oh, you're not?
No. I believe it's the lady across.
Oh, the lady across the road. Okay, well, someone is mowing the memorial, at least. The ball field, I have no idea, because there's been no one I.
Well, here's one of those real bad things that we can't get straightened out in here. So here's the lawn. You got those 4 council members that they're just trying to hold the borough hostage, so we pay for the Baptist church, which is Kirk's church. So we pay that under the contract with Tom Swartz. They have hired the last umpteen years to do. So do you think there's anything wrong with that, Ron? What's wrong with
With what?
mowing our ball field that they've done for umpteen years, and now they won't vote for it to get the lawn mowed. And we have to go, the ball field was donated to the borough if they did the maintenance on it. Now these guys aren't doing the maintenance because we won't allow them to mow the Baptist church lawn also.
Tom refuses to add
This is
that
a little
to.
That's
beyond
correct.
a legal opinion, but it would seem like common sense should prevail. If you have a ball field, it sounds like the ball field should be mowed.
Okay,
Very simple.
I make a motion that we hire Tom Swartz as the contract that he entered to mow the ball field
And the memorial.
and the memorial, as he was in the past, yes.
With what's left on his con.
The
with-
ball field and the memorial.
Have to be prorated because Steve, Mr. Williams has already paid for the ball field so that my church could have the event. So there's been a motion, do we have a second?
I was like, that.
All those in favor, hiring Tom Swartz with a prorated amount
Can I
for the
make
rest
a
of the
comment
year.
before we vote?
Yes.
Yes, no, absolutely, Jack, and you have commented on we need to upkeep the ball field. But I think, and I'm not surprised because multiple council members have done this, that you should be ashamed that you are not voting on allowing Tom Swartz to continue mowing our Veterans Memorial that honor people from our town that sacrificed their lives. You would rather
Okay, let's get,
Okay,
we have a motion.
not
You're
do
bad.
it.
You're
Do we have a
bad.
second?
I second that.
Okay. All those in favor? Darrell?
Earl Haynes, no.
Keith Payne, no.
Clerk Rowe, yes.
Gail, yes.
Jack, yes.
Kristen, yes.
Pat?
Lane Junior, no.
Thank you, Kirk, for doing the right thing for the community.
Yes,
All right.
That's right.
Okay, the Wayne County Community Development Block Grant, FFY 2022, requested by Councilman Darrell Haynes. Now, was that for the Stefano Road?
Actually,
Coxton Lake Road?
When was this requested?
This is this
No.
form, print out of the webpage.
Right.
Gail.
So you already have a bid, so that has to be, if approved by the council, then this grant pays the entire amount for the Coxton Lake Road, the $79,000.
I'll make a motion to apply for CDBG funding for Coxon Lake Road with the estimate of Bill Pikus plus $1,000 of borough money.
Plus $1,000 that we would have to pay.
Yes.
Okay, but the rest would be covered by the grant if with the application's approved.
Correct. And
Right.
be submitted no later than Friday, August 5th, 2022.
So I have a question.
Surely.
When did this request come in? Like, and how was it delivered to the borough, and where did it come from?
Well, it's a grant.
Like who, Mr. Haynes himself turned it in?
No, Mr. Haynes brought it to my home, but everything that's done has to be done at a public meeting,
So then
and
I
that's
would
why.
ask why Mr. Haynes brought it to your home and not to the meeting. When did he bring it to your home?
I don't know, I had a funeral and a lot of other
I
things, I don't
think it
know.
was last Monday,
Was it last
I gave her
Monday?
the application, so she could review it
Right.
at any time.
Right, and I gave it to the borough
And
secretary,
that's all you
and
sent
that's
to
why.
her to review this? You didn't ask her to fill it out? or
It's just
anything
the
like that?
application.
To give to the secretary to fill out. But then I
Can I ask
said,
Mr. Haynes a question?
I'm sorry.
So that's all you said to, you asked her to review it, you didn't ask her to fill it out or sign it or anything?
I did ask her to give it to the secretary, yes.
right, he did ask me to give it to the secretary, and I said, everything has to come to the council to be approved. And so if a motion that we apply for this grant will have to be made, and discussion,
I did make that motion.
I'm sorry, Dar, and a second.
I'll second that motion.
All right, all those in
What was your
favor?
motion?
Whoa. I have some questions.
Surely.
If I'm going to have to fill this out, I need a brief description of the project or activity. What specific geographic areas does this project or activity serve? Who is eligible to benefit from this project? How are participants and the public educated and informed about the project activity? How many people will benefit? What are the specific goals of the project and activity? Who will be responsible for administration of this grant? Describe your staff's organization, experiencing managing federal funds or similar projects. Explain how the project activity meets the CDBG objective. When will the project begin and end? What are the key milestones for this project? For public service, I can do these. But yeah, like how many people are going to benefit? Are you managing it? Like, I'm not Laura Travis. I am not going to type this up off the top of my head. If you're a council member and you want to apply for the grant and you've done the research of what you want to apply for, I am more than happy to fill this out for you. I will even use the online form since this won't work as it because you have to contact them for an offline form.
If you want to fill it out, I will help you fill it out.
I'm sorry, what?
I said, I will help you fill it out if you.
Great. We'll schedule the time.
I will help you fill it out as far as the information, not the.
I will do the busy work. I understand that that's the job. That's not the question. I don't know how many people it'll benefit.
What's the block grant itself for, what road?
Constantly, this one, the Pecos bid 70.
Just the Coxton Lake Road.
Pardon?
Just the Coxton Lake Road.
Yes.
Because that's the only road that needs work other than the ones you
No,
already have.
Jacob's in the real bad shape.
Repeat that again.
What about Jacob's Ladder Road?
They're dirty gravity.
A big question. Dave,
Regards to Coxton Lake Road, I know they applied for it last year, but is that breakaway post that was put in last fall, are you sure that's the borough line?
a breakaway post was inserted last
The borough
fall.
line between Preston and Starrucca Borough. There was a brand new breakaway post put in last fall by Chris Miller. He told me he did it. Are you sure that's where the borough line is?
Am I 100% sure? No, but it's fairly
You're
close.
100%
What did you go off, Darrell, when you put those posts in on the borough? Did you go off the actual survey map of the borough or your resolution maps?
You have one that Keith Payne.
What did you go at?
That's where he lives too.
I'm not aware there's a resolution on Coxton Lake Road, so that one provided.
So, what I'm saying is, on all the roads, how did you determine where, because all the roads you put these posts in that's sticking up out of the ground about 2 feet, what really shouldn't be left there, but, how did you determine where the borough boundary was? Off an actual survey map or a resolution map?
There is a map and stuff, borough.
There's what?
You can go out on.
No, my question is, do you go off a survey map or a resolution map? Or a tax map?
Who marked the spots? Someone had to mark it.
No, Dave, I got a question to Darrell. I really like the
He's
answer.
got to answer it through that.
Right?
Someone had to mark it.
Somebody had to mark it.
Mark Forts. showed Chris and I where it was on Fairmount Road.
Well, that's real easy, and you're still up a little bit more on that, because I own land along that, and it's right exactly at that fence post, and you've got it up a little bit. So you included Tony Clonis's driveway into Starrucca Borough. So what about the other roads? Did we do them off a survey map, the last survey map of Starrucca Borough? Did we do them off a resolution map, or
I'm not,
where you wanted the roads to be?
I think it was 1570.
No, let's get this on record where Mr. Haynes put the post in. Survey map, or how did you determine it?
I believe you brought on the computer, there's a map of Starrucca Borough, Jack.
So it wasn't a survey map of Starrucca Borough you went off.
Well, it would have to be the survey map.
No. You shouldn't be
Make it
asking.
legal.
That's a tax.
I'm not asking you, I was asking Darrell.
That's to make it legal. They couldn't go off any computer, they couldn't go off a resolution map, they couldn't go off a tax map, it has to be the survey map.
My point is this, the certified surveyor,
So why-
licensed surveyor, mark those spots where those stakes are put. On the Coxton Lake Road.
What was that, Dave?
Was the person that marked the spot a licensed or certified surveyor?
No.
Then, how can you apply for a grant if the boundaries are not correct and they're not
I'm not
accurate?
saying they're not correct, I just want to know where they received the information that that's where it is. Because I know it's not where he had the banner twine, the blue twine on the trees all these years. It's further up toward Coxton Lake, toward the VNAs.
I believe you pull your PennDOT record, they will, have on there the length of Coxton Lake.
Well, I'm glad you brought up a PennDOT records, because I'm gonna bring that up here a little later. We'll get to them a little later.
On Coxton Lake.
Okay,
So there's a motion on the floor, Darrell Haynes made a motion to apply for the Wayne County Community Development Block Grant application fiscal year 2022, based upon the estimate from Bill Pikus plus 1,000 from the borough. Seconded by Keith Payne.
To be submitted by August 5th,
Thank you.
well, I think that there's a big question here as the boundaries, but we'll take a vote because it's on the floor.
Can you read that again?
Darrell Haynes makes a motion to apply for the Wayne County Community Development Block Grant application fiscal year 2022, based upon the estimate from Bill Pikus plus $1,000 from the borough, to be submitted by August 5th,
So we're gonna
2022.
go,
21,
we're gonna pay an extra 1,000
21, 22.
on top of what Bill Pikus is estimating.
21, 22.
You've got
Is that
27.
one, yeah,
Yeah, but.
Why would,
It is
why would we pay an extra 1,000 if he's gonna do it for,
That's just an estimate, it has to go
Well, I
out for bids
understand that.
afterwards, it goes out for bids afterwards. If the
But-
bids come in over that estimate, the borough will have $1,000.
right, but the way that's worded is if he's gonna do it for that amount, regardless,
No.
Starrucca Borough
No,
is
that's
going
just
to
an
pay
No,
$1,000.
that
It
is how,
says
Jason,
plus,
that is how the process works.
it says plus.
The process works that by, the borough, giving $1,000, first of all, it does help you in ranking. Number two is.
So in other words, it's in-kind money you have to give.
Well, you don't have
You have
to,
to.
but it does help you get what you're asking for. But if, when the specs are written, if they come in under that total amount, which is the 80,000, whatever that number
Yeah,
is,
79,000.
then the borough doesn't have to pay a penny. It's only if it goes beyond what his estimate is, and if it goes over the total amount, it's kicked out. You don't get anything.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor. And it has been seconded. Darrell, your vote?
Darrell, yes.
Keith Payne, yes?
Kurt, yes.
Gail, no, due to the question about the boundaries.
Jack, no?
Kristen, no.
Tom Lane, Sugar, yes.
And you can get the one to the road and verify right from PennDOT what they're paying us for liquid fuels for the actual.
But that's money you submitted to PennDOT. PennDOT does not make your boundaries. You have to go off a boundary map. You can spin it any way you want. You have to use a boundary map.
We've already
And
discussed.
when did it have to be submitted by, August what?
Fifth.
Friday.
August 5th, that'll be Friday.
Right.
That's the deadline for the application, it says right here.
We've already discussed the old town hall. Jack's going to look into more of that. Something about Penn roads and Penn Dot.
You got that page?
Yeah. Okay, we need an update on the road specs from the committee. Darrell, what's been done? We already know about the Stefano Road. That's going to be looked into as far as the modified alcohol, Chris Miller and myself. Do you have anything else to add about these?
Thompson has cut the roadside on Bucks, Leach Creek, Jacob Ladder, and Cox and White. And they have worked with these part of those roads, and I believe Bucks, Jacobs, and Leach Creek, and I can't verify whether they've done Cox and White yet or not. They're finished. Okay.
Okay, so then they've all
And
finished
nobody's
those.
had it started.
Are there any questions to the road committee? Dave?
Yes, I had a meeting, I called the Wayne County Conservation District, as Mr. Haynes requested. Jack and I do it last month. Jack resigned, I bit the bullet, and I called Jamie Connect, and she contacted me with Chris, who was the head of dirt gravel grants for all Wayne County dirt roads. I notified Keith we were gonna have a meeting Tuesday morning at 9:30, said he'd be there.
I thanked you. I didn't say I'd be there. I thank you for coming.
He told me I'll be there. Thank you for coming. So man drove all the way from Holmesdale, and I was the only one there. And I'm just a citizen. All he did, he explained how the grant was gonna work. It's gotta be applied for by the end of November. Okay? And it's on a reward system. I'm not sure what the exact dollars are, but it's going to change because of increasing prices of things. But the borough, I guess, has to take the forms and go to contractors and get a price on all the materials. And he assured me, I don't know why he said this, he says it won't be like the hassle they had at Penn Hill. Whatever he meant by that. He says, what we state here is what's going to be on that road and nothing different. And the reward program is they would like every borough to give 10%. More would be better. And the roads are rated on the severity of needing the job done and who puts the most money in. If the roads aren't bad, if the road's real bad and you put in more than 10%, you're probably guaranteed to get the job. So, and that's about all he said. I did go to Mary Ann Nabako, ask her for a copy of the Penn State drawings. She told me she gave it to Darrell. Well, Darrell was never presented to council.
Well, that's something that must be presented to council.
And Darrell, when did you have this meeting for the Stefano Road?
I contacted you and I contacted Keith, and we met, I think on Tuesday night with Benny from
Tuesday night at 6:30 with Ben Thompson.
Yes.
Well, I was there Tuesday night, nobody showed up.
We were there at 6:30, you can contact Benny.
Wasn't it Tuesday night? You called me on a Sunday night.
I called you on a Friday.
Friday night, and it'd be Tuesday night.
I called you on a
Tuesday
Friday morning
night.
and said Tuesday night.
Right, and I come over, nobody was there at 6:30. I stayed till 10 to 7 that night.
Yes.
So, once again,
We were there.
It was
Darrell is
Tuesday.
not on the road committee, but
We were there
he's
from
doing
6.
everything on his own. So,
You can contact
next
that
month-
contractor.
You can
Next
contact
month-
Identify the date and the time
Next
you
month-
were
Dave is
there.
speaking.
yeah, don't be so rude. Next month, my resignation for road committee will be on your table. Because I'm not gonna, everything's a big secret. And he's-
No, it's not.
And on the
So I'm done, right?
I'm sorry to hear that, Dave, because we need honorable people that's going to do the job, and everything's supposed to be, for public knowledge, everything's supposed to be conducted at the council meetings
I
and
will,
voted on.
I will notify Jamie Connect that I am no longer road committee rep for Starrucca Borough.
Okay.
And the only one that's still on the road committee, because Darrell Haynes is not on it, only for the 3 grant roads we're doing this year supposedly. So I will contact Jamie myself, tell her I'm done, and we can do what we're gonna do.
The borough boundaries research, we're kind of at a standstill from this committee because there's not much information. Is there any other old business?
Yeah, I've got some of this, I got a thing back from Jay Roebuck from PennDOT, and it was update that the Carpenter Road, a .35 miles, was put on this year's liquid fuels money. And, so, my question goes back to, with the Carpenter Road, with the Carpenter Road, he just sent back and said that, he had attached map, so I did print the map off, so we had it. This is a map that they had added on the Carpenter Road. Now, I sent an email to you, Darrell, because we talked about the everybody got an email from me. And the email was for you to bring the documents, because you said, I asked you how the Carpenter Road became a borough road legally. And you said you had documents and deeds that it was always a
I
road.
beg to differ, Jack, I told you to go to the courthouse and contact PennDOT.
Oh, no, you said that's how, because my question to you was, how did you get it on there? You said it's always been a borough road. It's been, okay, so now where's your documents to prove that?
Down to the courthouse, and I told you to go down and get a copy of the same.
So you never had none to show PennDOT how this was?
Jack, contact PennDOT, they can give you a copy of the information they have.
Well, I already did, and I got a bunch back that he had from Mary Ann, but it was incomplete. So Mary Ann Bulka was your ones doing all the work last year. So as of the Carpenter Road original documents, this was the email that I gave you, Ron, you were CC'd on this. As this is a reminder to the Councilman Darrell Haynes and other current council members and former council members, Mary Ann Bulka, involved in constructing the Carpenter Road, to bring any and all documents and deeds pertaining to the Carpenter Road to the August 1st council meeting. As per Darrell Haynes' statement, that he had these documents and deeds proving that the Carpenter Road has always been a borough road. We need to address this at the August 1st council meeting. Clarify any questions on this matter. Thank you for your cooperation at this time. So, I see where you had put this in, and then it's got here, Kurt, you were here because it's from Starrucca Borough, whom it may concern, R.A. Carpenter Hill Road. To whom it may concern, please find attached to the survey map and the deed description, Butler surveying, and the Starrucca Borough resolution adopting the same. It is our understanding through Scott Williams Butler surveying that these items are required. Thank you for your attention. So about a year ago or so, I had talked to Chris Getz, and he said he's not going to accept anything such as a resolution map, because they're not a valid map. So I can see what your guys' really little game is. You get your surveyor over from Butler Surveying, you have him do a resolution map that goes for every turn and point on the road, and you call this your resolution map. And you bring it back to council, and then you put it into the Pathonbury's office, and you make an official map. And then you take and turn around this to PennDOT, and you buffalo PennDOT that this is an actual survey map. Well, who determines where the boundary lines are to do these survey maps?
Sometimes it's an agreement, Jack, between the two.
Oh, stop it, Kurt.
I believe on the Carpenter Road.
Okay, so could you give me that document here?
I believe on the Carpenter Road, Butler surveying
Can you
surveyed
tell me
out.
exactly where the line is on the state road? And is it really accurate?
I don't even really care, but I do care about the Carpenter Road, because here's the other
You
thing.
just answered your question.
PennDOT, well, I'm not gonna go out and say PennDOT that you own this amount of road down my driveway. I'm not gonna be like one of you landowners in here at Starrucca Borough.
Right.
So here's what they do, Ron, and you've been involved in this, you see how the resolution maps are all, because they had you actually file a lot of this stuff years ago. So did you file the Carpenter Road on their behalf this past year, or not?
I didn't think I did anything like that. I may have done something years ago, but I haven't done anything.
So that's what they did with Carpenter Road. So now this Carpenter Road, let's be clear on the Carpenter Road. So it's 0.35, so we got about a third of a mile, right? Out of 7 point whatever miles we got. If you go back and look at borough records, you guys have probably spent pretty close to $15,000 to $18,000 on the Carpenter Road. Not to mention, you spent a lot of liquid fuels money prior to this year on the Carpenter Road. And you verified that several times throughout the minutes. So, to spend $15,000, and if we're gonna get like $25,000 in liquid fuels, if you took that back and you say, how much are we gonna get on a third of a mile road? We're gonna get about $1,000. So now we gotta do all the maintenance on this road that, by the way, who lives on it? Absolutely nobody. So it benefits the borough how? Just like the Auditor General and the ethics told you guys, not to enter in any contract that didn't benefit the borough. Well, this is not benefiting the borough. It does benefit your brother and your brother. Because it's a good way to get out to his...
on the Carpenter Road.
Right on the end of the Carpenter Road, he owns right across from it. Because the Penn Hill Road has been vacated.
Oh, so you know
And you
more
have
than I do.
ignored that.
You know more than I do.
And, oh yeah, listen to you. I don't know how you sit there and you can lie like that with a smart face. But anyway, let's just move on. So now, how beneficial is this for the borough? For you to be spending $15,000 to $18,000, because a lot of it, the bills are fudged, as we witnessed again tonight here, how you can do it.
I'd rather spend it on roads and on attorney fees, Jack.
Well, why don't you do something with the community hall instead of the road?
Don't do anything with things you would have to have for 30 feet.
So here we've got this, so now it's gonna take us how many years when you get about $1,000 in liquid fuels? How beneficial is this really to the community? Why did we put this money back into the community hall? Because you didn't want to do it, you wanted to, and when you guys started this project back in 2017, the way I look at where that road goes, it goes through two properties, UMRA's, which you do your farming practice on their property, and the other side of the road is Swanson's, which was Kirk's employer at the time. So it seems like you guys on council got some type of conflict of interest here.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
So anyway, I've got this map that I'll enter into the borough minutes, or the borough records, because this was an updated map, and that's what I've got here. And then the other thing with the Carpenter Road is I have that, and I will follow up with the Carpenter Road and see how it became a liquid fuels road. And Kirk, this letter, you got to whom it may have concerned, do you know where it went to?
To whom it may concern.
What's that?
To whom it may concern.
Okay, I'll get the contact. You got a phone number for him?
All right. In the first place, an ordinance supersedes always a resolution. So whatever the facts of that, a resolution as far as boundaries, it just is not superseded by a resolution. That's a legal fact. I don't know about, I've not seen either one, so I don't really know. The gentleman from the Guinness subdivision, unfortunately, due to the tenor of these meetings, left. God bless him.
That was the whole
Yes.
You should have moved forward.
Yes, well, he just, I was going to, and he just left, and probably a little discouraged. Okay, the only other thing under new business is a video presentation from Mr. Dalton.
Yeah, I put a little something together to show that we got the issue with the audit. So,
And once you show that, what's it gonna prove and what are you gonna do?
what's it gonna prove?
What are you gonna do?
It's gonna prove that we have audits out there that are unfinished, because you guys appointed Lord Travis
Do you have,
for the audit.
do you have that, the state?
As of a couple months ago, the 2019 and the 2020 was not completed.
Did he ever contact the Starrucca Borough
On the 218 audit?
I would like to just run the thing, and I had it on the agenda,
Have
and...
they ever?
Right.
Yeah, we're actually trying to get that to happen.
What's that?
Has DEC ever Okay.
So, could we run that, please?
Do you want to go over this or just go straight to the video?
This is what I put up, so it goes through and it shows the events. So it goes through and shows where, in November, remember, we had the resignations, and at that point, Darrell Haynes had appointed Lillian Buck. She had no letter of interest, she wasn't at the thing, we just tied up one of the council seats. And then we go into January. Jordan was elected, 6-year elected official. They totally ignored him, and they still had ignored him up until this year. Would not let him participate in it. And then George Revolta resigned. And in April, there was 2 letters of interest. And at that point, Kirk, you said that we shot a letter off DCEP. Mr. Gursky made a motion to appoint Robert Weldy. You council members didn't want him to be on. And then we went into May. And the big thing at that April meeting, Laura sat there, and you council members sat there, and you pretended that you were waiting to see what went on with the audit, knowing that Laura Travis, that day of the meeting, Laura Travis did the audit. And then in May, you guys come around, and then you did appoint her a month later after she had the 2018 audit done. And then, so the first public knowledge was when you paid Laura $100 in August. Go ahead and run the tape if you would, dear. It's only about, like 10 minutes.
What's going on with the audit?
There's a letter flared out to DEC. We're going to wait there.
What's the holdup? What's the holdup? I need to get somebody else to do what you've got.
I think we're going to step them up.
You have that?
Oh, it's not there.
Play the game, Darrell nominated Lillian Buck. I talked to her, she's not interested. They said just play the game, just shut everything up. There's a letter sent to the DCED for their response.
That's what's that.
So you're running anything back from here?
He's not talking Beardsley yet. Beardsley said that.
Well, you can talk to her, because this question is about your loan. Part of your loan and money, you've got conflict of interest.
No, sir, because that wasn't what the issue was about with Beardsley. Beardsley said that your attorney called him.
Yes.
And he called me. He called her. Yes, he did.
Okay, so did you call her or did you call you?
I called Beardsley.
Okay, so call her, can't handle it.
What difference does it make, Jack?
Wait a minute. You said holding on.
I did.
So what's the last response we see?
You're waiting for it. Let's move on. What do you move on?
I don't have a lawyer, I agree.
Okay. Hey, let's move on.
Right? No, it's not nonsense.
It is.
You guys just
So I told you we fired a letter off the DEC gate. The last word said.
Where's the letter, please? Yes.
Yeah, so.
Starrucca Borough Council. As an elected official of Starrucca Borough, my rights have been violated for the lack of action taken by the council to fill the auditor vacancy, which has kept me from fulfilling my elected duties for the citizens of the borough. Please respond in writing to the following questions. 1. Why didn't the council advertise the need for 2 auditors within the last 4 months? 2. Why didn't council follow the steps in the code book, chapter 9, section 911, 905? 3. Why is the question I asked during public comment in regards to what was happening with the audit at April 2019 meeting not noted in the minutes? And you wrote it out for a copy.
Answer to that is, you didn't have who to take up with the judge.
What do you mean?
Just as I said.
So what's going on, DCED? We sent a letter.
New business, any new business? All right, guys. At this time, I'm going to address that. I'll make a motion to appoint Laura Travis, temporary auditor for Starrucca Borough.
I'll second.
We already have someone that requested that, Robert Lowe, he requested long before this, and you were told the last meeting, and he's more than qualified,
Why didn't you nominate him?
more than qualified.
Why didn't you nominate him? Why didn't you nominate him?
There's a motion on the floor, second. Well, she just said the secretary, she's not even the auditor.
You want that?
Yeah, hey, there's a motion on the floor, second. Have you run out of beer to that?
Is there any discussion on it?
Have you run out of beer to that? Oh, sorry. I already seconded it.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
I make a motion that Robert Lowe be appointed, because this one is legal, appointed auditor.
You guys seen the book drop? Laugh hard. Laugh.
This is
I did last week.
This is wrong. This is wrong.
I did last week. Robert Lowe be as auditor, and you kept shutting me down. You refused to accept it, and I never even got a minute for what I had said.
There's a motion on the floor, you need a second or dies. So, with the audit, what about that?
What about what?
The letter that you sent DCEA, that we got a response back. Didn't you ever get a response email back from them?
No, I didn't.
Did you send the letter?
Yes.
I requested a copy of that.
And I requested a copy, and I never got a copy.
And also, I requested a copy last month of the letter that was sent to the local.
She refused.
Huh?
She refused.
She refused to give me letters?
She refused the auditor.
No, that wasn't his question. His question was he asked for a copy of the letter that went to DCED and the letter that went to the Little League. Is what the question was.
The Little League?
Yes, whatever yes, that was his question.
Okay.
I'll make a motion during the meeting.
I'll second it.
Can't discuss.
Well, this is a resolution.
It's going bad in their way.
What other stuff?
There's a motion and a second. You gotta have a vote.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Yeah, you left out the part in that video where you stated, I got a letter from DECD.
I didn't get that letter. I didn't get a letter from DCED yet.
You told us in the meeting that you got a letter from DECD.
Not on that audit, I didn't. I never did.
No, you didn't show it.
No, I never did get a letter from DCED. Matter of fact, I've got a right to know here that I am asking for the letter that was sent in 2019, April 2019, that the letter was sent to DCED. And second, I want a letter from the DCED on the response on what to do with the audit in 2018. So that's a right to know that I was given, even though we don't have a
You
right to
also
know.
called.
But,
You also called.
well, I did call him, and Jennifer Smith said, I didn't know anything about that. And Jennifer Smith said, I didn't know nothing about it. We accepted the 2018 audit
Okay.
because we thought you were out of auditor up there. You guys never told them that Jordan was still an elected auditor. Not to mention, when Gursky brought it up, there was an empty seat that you could have had Laura if you wanted to do it. She could have did it with Jordan. Plus, you could have put Robert Weldy on because there was 3 auditors. But you wanted to keep this all secret. And then you did it again in 2019, in 2018. And Jordan's got a stack of papers about that big where he has sent to you, DCED, and other ones where you wouldn't let him do the audit. So now it's going to go back to DCED and other state agencies and ask them why you did the audit. Now I've got a question for you, Ron. Have you ever did any legal work or represented Laura Travis or Demi Travis to do anything with the audit?
Not to my knowledge.
Is it?
Because when originally hired you in 2020, they still had Beardsley, and then I hired you, and that was on a Zoom meeting, and I had got on the Zoom meeting a little bit late, had a hard time getting on. And when I got on, it was when they were starting to vote, and they voted, and the vote was to hire you to represent the secretary. And then when I turned around and questioned, and I said, you're hiring Ron Boucher to represent the secretary while you already got an attorney? And Darrell Crexton said, no, it's for Starrucca Borough. So I don't know what the real reason was why they hired you, why they still had Beardsley.
I don't know why they hired me either, to be honest with you.
Because Beardsley had no recollection that they hired you when I called Beardsley. So there's a lot of issues out there around this.
As a matter of fact,
Somehow
that's
we're
back
getting
when I
in
called
between
you
this stuff.
before.
We went over this. He called me and I said,
Right.
I didn't know about
At
it.
that same time, that's when all this stuff.
Yeah.
So
So
what-
I told him I didn't know about
Well, you said you thought he was when he
it.
left the
I thought he
message.
was Jason Beardsley instead of Jason Bean, okay?
So
Jason.
what was the first things that you started doing as an attorney for Starrucca Borough back in 2020? Why did they need you?
I can't recall.
I'll bet it has for you guys.
I can't recall.
We've already discussed the Kennewack power bills. And I have a question about Richard Banks. You're again paying his salary. The constable, you're again paying for him to be here? Okay, that's all. As long as we clarify that, because the borough is running out of
Hey,
funds.
personal bodyguard.
Oh, I got one thing. This was what was voted on last month for Darrell to sign his consent, lease and release on the Carpenter, or on the Kellogg Road, was voted on for him to do it. Did he ever get that back to you?
No, I don't have this.
That was voted on last month.
Is that updated and sent to him?
The law, landowner, that maybe, that was voted on and passed to sign that. Is there any other new business? Dave?
As long as you're talking to release, Chris from the Wayne County Conservation District told me there's only one property in Jacob's Ladder that needs signing. And that's the Marashka property, or his son-in-law, that's the only property that would have to be signed off.
Okay, thank you.
Because evidently they're the only one with more than 33 foot going to go on the property. Save you a lot of work in the Homestead Courthouse.
Okay.
So what do we do about the audit that's still left open 2019 and 20 around?
I don't know anything about it, to be perfectly honest. You have to give me more information. What's the status of it?
I don't know, because DCED, no one seems to want to get back to you now from DCED either.
Okay, so the question is, does the borough want to authorize me to look into it and try to provide some answers? If they do, then somebody should make that motion. Because I know absolutely nothing about those ordinances.
Well, the big thing is, are we gonna go back and reprimand these people for not following code and violating?
Why don't we find out what happened first before we start talking about?
Right there it is.
Jack, he showed snippets of meetings, okay? That's not enough. You got to provide me with some information, you have to understand what happened, and then we have to make a determination.
Well, the understanding of what happened, Ron, is these guys did a lot of, let's say, maybe not so kosher things in 2018. Like $37,000 when they did the Penn Hill project. They went up there and then they ended up that they got reallocation for a second application, and it was for $37,000. So here they had a grant out for another $37,000, piggybacked on that one, and they never put it out to bid.
Okay.
So now you got $37,000 that was never put out to bid. That was a second grant.
That's your oral version of what happened. You get me some documentation. If the council votes me to look into it, I'll look into it.
Oh, yeah, investigate this.
I think the best thing would be the state to look into it.
You can
We
ask the state.
are required the state to look into this.
You want to ask if the council votes to do that, they can do it.
Well, you'll never get a vote from these guys, because four county members.
All right, is there
Who
any
do I got to
other?
contact?
I beg your pardon?
I'll start a petition in the borough. Who do I got to contact and send it to get the state to look into it?
They don't do
I
Why
would
do I
say
get a petition from the people in the
DCED,
borough?
the Auditor General, the Attorney General, may
Okay.
even be the District Attorney.
Okay.
Somebody should
I'll
look
do
into
that.
this.
I will sign a petition to get this going so we can actually find something done legally for once.
That's what we do need.
Is there anything, any other new business? Anyone else has anything to say for the good of the borough?
A while back, I asked about a letter that was sent from Thompson Township? Did you receive that?
I didn't get anything from Thompson Township.
Did we change the rates or
No,
asking?
nothing was sent to me. Nothing was sent to me from Thompson Township.
I will get a copy of that.
Rates on the road or the fire tax?
So,
On the road.
The road, yeah, the
Yeah, I
fire.
didn't
that's-
see anything.
Fire tax,
I
that's
didn't look
already.
that close.
He told me personally, he got it down here.
No, I don't have anything. I keep a copy of everything, so. All right, thank you all for your patience and God bless you.
I make a motion, meeting be adjourned.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Darrell, yes.
Keith Payne, yes.
Kale, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Kristen, yes.
When do you want to meet?
Did we hand it over to Rick?
Did you?
I think it was.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Oh, yeah.
Where'd you get that done? You got my number?
Okay, right here then.